Hello, welcome to the Math Reflective. Before you start this video, I just want to let you know I originally shot the video that you're going to see about grading practices in IGTV for Instagram. So it's a vertical video, so I apologize for the format and the way that it looks, and there'll be black bars on either side of it. In the future, I'll figure out how to work around this, but please be patient with me in the process. Thanks so much. I just want to add, I believe if you watch it on your phone, it'll be the best way to view this video. If you watch it on a computer, it might be a little annoying because of the constraints of the format. Hello, thank you for joining me. My name is Kathy Dixon. Welcome to the Math Reflective. I am a 6th grade teacher in Illinois, and today I want to talk to you about math homework. I definitely want to say before I get started that in no way am I saying what I do is the best way to handle homework. I just want to share with you some transitions I've made in the past few years of my teaching. They may not work for you, but there's a reason why I've been changing the way I use homework. So to give you a little background, our school is transitioning to standards-based grading. And as a math department in both of our 2 middle schools, we've been trying this out for the last few years and starting to change our grading practices because of that. We still don't have a reporting system that allows us to report standards-based, but I want to share with you how I transitioned and changed how I use homework since we've started this attempt to fit a square peg in a round hole. We used to spend the first 10 minutes, sometimes 15, on going over math homework and having time for students to ask questions and go over answers and maybe choosing a couple problems that we knew students might struggle with. And although I think this is very effective and this is very useful, our class periods are only 40 minutes long. And this past year, we started piloting a new resource called Open Up Resources 6-8 Math, and it's awesome. But back to the homework. Well, we decided a couple years ago that we would count homework as less percent and less points than we used to in the past as we transition to standards-based grading, because we truly value the homework as just a continuation and a work on fluency and nothing that we would assess and evaluate towards mastery of the Common Core state standards. So we only count homework as 5% of their total grade. I know that sounds crazy and that would be a huge shift for someone to change to, but this is just a work in progress, and feel free to give me tips and comments or feedback if you agree or don't agree or just find it interesting. So what we do with homework now is we use Canvas, which is a learning management system, and we put the homework in, or we call it the practice, in every day, and we also include the key. That's been another huge shift in my teaching. Because we want students to just be working through the practice and working on fluency and managing that themselves, we grade basically on compliance. Although that's not separated out into their overall grade yet because we don't have that standards-based reporting tool. Again, we value that practice in such a small way now that we like it to be reflected, and we want the students to be using that answer key to help them self-assess and also to help them just get the right answers. So we don't spend any more time going over homework at the beginning of class, and that has freed us up to do this inquiry-based program that we're now doing. We're going to be doing a 2nd-year pilot next year, and I'm really excited about it. So what we do for homework is we have students grade it using a C, PC, and Y system. And let me explain that a little bit. C means correct, so when they go to score their homework in Canvas, which is our learning management platform, they mark a C if they got it correct because they have the key, and our students are 1-to-1 with iPads. I forgot to mention that, but whether you're using paper or using the iPads, you can still provide the key for students. So they're looking at a digital copy of the key, and they can actually attach it in Notability to their homework. So they grade each one, they look at the first one, it's all correct, they would just put a red C. We like them to do it in red because when they use Notability, they're able to use any color, and we want it to be able to stand out. We want to see, and we do look at what they did for their homework, but we look at it a little bit differently than we used to. I'll get to that in a minute. So if they get it all correct, they mark a C. And if they get it partially correct, and maybe they just had a couple minor mistakes, we have them put a PC, and that means partially correct. And then if it's a not yet, they're totally way off base, they really missed the standard, they don't really know what they're doing yet, we want them to put an NY for not yet. Now, this is definitely a mind shift and a transition for students as well. We need to model this. We show examples at the beginning of the year for sixth graders, and we really encourage them that mistakes are welcome, that it's okay to show a PC or NY, because we then can see in red what they did to correct it, and they're allowed to use the answer key to make corrections. So I'm going to include an example in this video where you can see a student sample homework of when they graded it with a C. You'll see an example of a PC, and you'll see an example of a not yet. Whether it's PC or not yet, they should have definitely written the correct answer. And then sometimes students will leave us feedback and say, I still don't understand this. It's a great tool for self-assessment. It's a great way because sometimes students just need to see an example, and then they kind of know what they can do, or they can leave a comment for us saying that they need extra help and support. Certainly, we always offer that opportunity in class for students to ask questions about homework, but honestly, because it became a routine not to go over homework, I did forget a lot the second half of the year to ask if they had homework questions. And that's something I've reflected on and I want to change for next year, because sometimes there's a certain problem I'll look at night that I see a lot of students are getting wrong. And I do want to go over that as another example as a warm-up. Now you might be wondering, what if students just copy the whole entire key? And yes, that is an option that they can do. We talk to the students at the beginning of the year, we talk to the parents at curriculum night, and certainly they could do that. But it's not really going to help them with their artifacts and with their assessments that we score to gain mastery level. So we tell the students that's an option, if you want to do that, but it's not really going to help you in the long run. So there's an integrity piece that we just trust that they're going to be professionals about that. And now I'm sure there's times, and I know there's times because their work looks exactly like my key. So I know students are often erasing or not putting the NY or the PC and just copying the correct answer because they're perfectionists. And that's something we're still trying to deal with. But we do train the parents in this as well, and we teach them, why, our philosophy of why we're giving them the student key and why we have them grade C, PC, and Y. We use that same system when we grade assessments or artifacts, we call it, which is basically formative assessment. They're called cool downs for our Open Up Resources 6-8 math program, but you could call it an exit ticket or whatever you want. We give those on paper, and we have students grade those with us in class, and I can do another video later to talk about that. So in short, I no longer go over and spend time going over homework at the beginning of my class. That's been a huge change for me the last couple years. We have students grade with C for correct, PC for NY, PC for partially correct, and NY for not yet. And that homework is only graded at 5%. It's always due the next day, and basically we have a point system to grade them on if they follow all the criteria. I will include the criteria in this video. If they follow all the criteria, they get 5 out of 5 points. If they are turning it in late but meet the criteria, we give them 4 points. And if they do not meet the criteria, we only give 3 out of 5, but then we give them comments in the feedback section and we allow them to resubmit for full points, because we don't really care when they get it as long as they get it. Well, I hope you learned something from this video. And again, I'm not saying that this is the best way to do things. This is just what I've been doing, and I wanted to reflect on this as part of my teaching. Thank you for joining me, and follow me at The Math Reflective on Instagram or on Twitter at Math Reflective. Thank you. Have a great day. Are you ready for more?